One of the main difficulties around this area is knowing when it's time to say something. So how can I recognise that someone needs support?
The key thing I have to look for is if I notice problems in terms of my friend's functioning, quality of life, any issues at work, personal life, becoming sort of an out of character behavior, absenteeism, getting into financial problems, relationship breakdown, that sort of thing, coupled with my knowledge that so-and-so has been drinking alcohol, should start raising alarm bells. In addition to that, when people go through alcohol, frequent intoxications, which can be due to binge drinking or constant drinking, not engaging in social activities as much as they used to, hiding drinking, hiding bottles, getting withdrawn socially and then drinking alone. These are some of the things that raise a suspicion that I may have crossed the line and I am having a drink problem.
If I think that someone needs help, I've noticed all these signs, and I want to talk to them about it and offer them support, what are some key bits of advice for approaching that person with your support?
Two things to that. One is we should try to help that person by showing empathy and compassion, and listening is the main thing that you have to do. Number two, at the same time, while we try to approach the problem in a very gentle and sensitive way, we should set some clear boundaries as well. So it's a balance between the two. You should be prepared to spend time. You may have to talk to that person more than once, because quite often people who may have an alcohol problem, in the initial phases they may be in a state of something called a denial, where they may find it difficult to understand or accept that they have an alcohol problem.
And you mentioned this setting boundaries. Is there any advice that you have for someone setting boundaries of someone who's struggling with alcohol addiction?
The core thing that you have to remember when you try to set boundaries is not to take blame. For example, if my close friend has an alcohol problem, that friend, when I try to talk to that person, may be blaming me for his or her alcohol problem, saying that you are constantly nagging me, you are policing me, you are checking me, you are threatening me. But I should not take that blame. We should set very clear boundaries. Number two is even if somebody who is very close to me, I should not try to hide their problems in front of their friends or employer or anybody. If my friend is under the influence of alcohol, is trying to drive, it is my responsibility to tell that person, if you drive, I have to inform the police. So setting firm boundaries, which many people may find it difficult, especially if it is somebody who is very close to you. However, what I have seen a lot in my experience is when you try to set firm boundaries, initially people with alcohol problems almost invariably will not like it. They will blame you for that, and they quite often try to push boundaries. But in the long term, once they get the help and all those things, usually they, with the hindsight, they come back and say that they really liked that you set the boundaries, and they'll be thankful to you because they feel safe.
So we've touched on the stages of alcoholism, the first one being denial. How do I deal with someone who's in denial? Is there any point when an intervention is needed?
If I say I don't have a problem with alcohol, there's no point in confronting with them. There's no point in forcefully challenging them, because they may find it more and more difficult. That is when people may start hiding drinking, hiding bottles, which can end up in more consequences. So once somebody is in denial, I think the main thing is patiently having further discussions with the individual. I am aware that it's not easy, but that is very, very important. Don't give up, and give them examples, quoting examples. For example, you have been doing so well in the last few years. However, recently we have noticed that your functioning at work has declined, frequent absenteeism at work, especially we call it as Monday morning syndromes, where you call your employer and say, I'm off sick, maybe due to hangover, you can't function well. You used to take your son for football, which you used to really enjoy, which you have stopped doing now. You have withdrawn now. You are not functioning well. That sort of examples. In order to break that ice, to make an individual understand that we are concerned about them. So we are not here to judge somebody or to punish somebody or to have an argument. And we should not discuss these issues when somebody is intoxicated. So in between, when they are not intoxicated, that is when you should have these sort of discussions. So choosing that at the right time, invite them to go for a walk, for example, or meet in a coffee shop and have a chat. Also try to seek help from other people who you know that your person with alcohol problem has got a good rapport with.
So when someone is in treatment for the alcohol addiction, what can loved ones do to support them directly?
Involvement from the loved ones is very crucial throughout this treatment process. So we here at the Woodbourne, we always encourage the loved ones to get in touch with us. They can visit us, they can have discussion, clarify things, and we can work together. That feeling of togetherness, because a doctor alone or a psychologist alone cannot, I believe, help somebody. So we have to involve the family members and the loved ones, all those things, and we actively encourage, because to be fair, every individual is different, their backgrounds are different. So the more we get opportunities to talk to the families and loved ones, it becomes easier to address each individual's personal needs.
And how can someone look after themselves when they're supporting someone with an alcohol addiction?
Yeah, helping someone with alcohol addiction is not easy at all. So first of all, we have to accept that we are doing a serious job. It's a serious business, but it's really worth it. During that process, the loved one can go through a mixture of emotions and feelings and difficulties. They may have to bring up small kids. They may have to feed the family. They may go through anxiety, frustration, guilt feelings. What am I doing is right or wrong? That sort of a confusion, depression, panic attacks, sleeplessness. In such cases, they should seek help, either through the GP or a professional like us, or there are lots of support groups available. Reading materials are available, nice guidelines, NHS websites. There are so many, and we are always happy to assist and signpost and provide the necessary support for the dear and near ones.
If you found this video useful, please give it a like, and it allows us to spread this content as far as possible, getting it to those who need to see it. And for more of this content, please subscribe to the Priory YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.